Hello and welcome to this week's Fried AI with me, Billy McLaughlin. I have got some news from the big bad world of AI and also some specifically for our industry, as always, in accounting and finance. Now, the stuff that's fresh and hot off the press is ChatGPT's news. So given the fact that I'm filming this at like 8 a.m., this is probably less than 12 hours old. ChatGPT's got a memory boost, which is really exciting. And what they've done is they've now made it possible to remember everything from every conversation. So what this now means is that if you're asking ChatGPT something in one conversation, it can draw down data and create a response based on the conversations you've had previously. So if you've seen any of my training in the past, I quite often talk about categorizing your conversations on the left-hand toolbar. Well, now it can draw down into them to prevent you having to repeat yourself. And also it just means that it can give you a relevant, useful, and much more personalized response. Just a quick note, you can opt out of this in the settings. And if you don't want it to remember anything, obviously there is always the temporary chat option as well. In other news, we've also seen a new product that I've not heard of before called Spot.AI. Now, I always like to keep this super specific to accountancy and bookkeeping, but because of the industry we're in, I feel like we always help out so many other industries. So Spot.AI have developed a new tool that it's actually called IRIS, which is very aptly named for our industry, but it's the first AI agent builder for security cameras. I know what you're thinking, Bill, we're going with this. Well, actually, when I think back to practice days and the clients I had in industries such as manufacturing and retail, this could be super useful. So these security cameras, what they can do is they can detect things like safety in warehouses. So if somebody's not wearing the correct PPE, potentially it could prevent them from gaining access to maybe sensitive areas. It can also alert you if there's any areas that have been unsafely stacked with products. And again, in retail, it can tell you kind of if there's any shelves or stock levels that seem to be running low. So if you do have any clients that are struggling with that in the warehouse, and as I said, I remember that we would get asked all sorts, and it's always good to know that these things are on the market. So that's Spot.AI, and they've developed Iris. Other news in the big bad world is Claude AI by Anthropic, and they now offer a max plan. So they've actually got two of these. One of them is 5 times better and one is 20 times better. So the usage is better than their Pro model. There is a lot of Pro around at the moment. So whatever product you're using, they likely have a Pro version. So Claude is no different. They've got a Pro version and they've now developed 2 more models, varying in price depending on whether you want the 5 times volume or the 20 times volume. But if it is a product you use, you want to be thinking about if you're working with huge data sets, if you're working with complex data, maybe massive documents, you might need to upgrade to these kind of 20 times models, which are about $200 a month. If you are just kind of wanting to get over the usage limits and you've got deadlines to meet and things, maybe the 5 times model would be better for you. But if you are a Claude user, I wanted to bring that one to your attention. Google, no different with the word Pro. So Google have announced at their latest event, it's in Vegas, they have just done an event this week called Google Cloud Next, and they've announced the Google Gemini 2.5 Pro. So this has now got deep research capabilities, which we've seen launched in OpenAI's ChatGPT, and the Google one is very, very good. So if you are a Google Gemini user and you want to try the 2.5 Pro for that, I would definitely suggest it. It's also great for things like going into a bit more of your data. So it can produce responses based on your Google search history. And I already know that by saying that, a few of you have shuddered and shivered and thought, I don't want it to know that. But it is an option, and it just means that the responses are much more tailored. They've also developed a new model called Flash as well, and this has been dubbed the workhorse because this is something that's really good for very, very fast-paced areas that you're using AI, maybe for chatbots or AI assistants. So those quick tasks that you just need to get responses for quickly. the Google Gemini Flash 2.5 could be the answer for that one. And then to finish off today, I wanted to bring your attention to a product that I've seen a little bit of online, a few whispers, and I did have a little look into it, which looks really great for an industry that is essentially struggling with talent. We struggle with retention, we struggle with the recruitment, and training is no different. So there is a product now being developed called Hey Monika. And when I looked at this, I really like what they've done. And what they've created using AI is an assistant, Monika, who you can ask questions to. If you're a trainee, you can ask questions like, what does depreciation mean, or whatever it may be. You can ask it questions like that. But also they've created fictitious scenarios of sole traders, businesses that are incorporated, maybe landlords, and it can talk you through what you need to do with those type of clients. So potentially looking at setting up a zero subscription, maybe even requesting bank statements, and then kind of how to deal with that, what to do with that information. And then at the end of each of these scenarios, which usually take around an hour, in training, it will give you a bit of a score on how you've done. So if you do have team members that are starting out that you don't really want to let loose on your actual data, but you want to give them a feel for what it's like to have an actual client, this is fantastic because it even gives you a full rundown of who this client is, their name, their goals, their aspirations, how many kids they've got and how they want to navigate business as a whole. What challenges they've got. So it really is like having a proper client. The only thing I would say is it does say things like what VAT scheme they're on, and if only clients is that forthcoming with data, it would make our lives a lot easier. So if you are looking at training, I would also check out Hey Monika, and there's some great people behind that product as well. So I know that they'll be really thinking about our industry in accountancy and bookkeeping. That is everything from me. I will see you all next week. Have a great weekend and happy Friday.